No, but you ever watch that old poker show on TV, the ESPN? Well, I love that poker show. We got pocket tens. We don't have a great hand, but we got a chance. And so we're going all in.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of the All In podcast. This week, our topic is audiences, fans, and identity. My name's Mary Mack.
I'm Kate. I'm Braylon.
I'm Jackson.
And now I'm Khalil Barnes. And last week, we had a great guest in Ashton Hampton. This week, switching it up a little bit, we're joined by one of the creative forces driving the unforgettable energy you feel at all the Clemson games, Miss Sammy Roush, Associate Director of Marketing and Fan Experience for Clemson Athletics. So I just want to welcome you and thank you for joining
Yeah,
us.
thank you guys for having me. That was quite the intro. I'm flattered, truly.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, so we prepared a list of questions for you, and question 1 is how long have you worked in your current position, and what do you do in your job? Just kind of like what is expected of you.
Yeah. So I am going into my third school year here at Clemson. So I moved here. My first day at Clemson was August 3rd, 2023, which is like wicked for me to say out loud because it has been like the fastest moving 2 years ever. But I'm excited to go into my third year. The primary focus, I guess, of kind of my position and more so kind of our department in general, is that like our mission ultimately is to make sure that the people that come to all of our sporting events have a great time and give them a reason to come back and bring a friend next time. So ultimately, we're trying to create and execute game day fan experiences and strategies that like really enhance the game day atmosphere. But also on top of that, and what kind of work in tandem is, raising attendance and like more or less like strengthening the direct connection between our fans and the Clemson community and Clemson athletics and our sports teams and our coaches and all the different things that go under that. So I oversee the marketing plans and like in-game, in-venue presentation and entertainment for several sports, including I run the field level presentation at football. So every single football game, I'm basically on field level, and then my boss, Don Scott, is the head kind of show caller, is the term that we use in our area of work. But he is like up in the press box, so he basically is up there on our headsets telling everybody what to do. I am responsible for making sure all of that stuff happens. So I'm kind of his like action item down on the field. But on top of that, I work as the primary game day director for women's basketball, men's soccer, and softball, while being also the primary oversight for our student interns, which this year we have about 40 of them. So my
Wow.
hands are full, but it's
Wow.
really awesome. But this, I mean, involves everything from theme night planning to promotions to giveaways to student engagement, special events. At its core, honestly, like my job is a lot of storytelling and building emotional connections and making sure that every fan who comes to a Clemson game feels like they are a part of the experience and leaves wanting to come back because they had such a good experience.
Perfect. You kind of set me up for my question. I was gonna ask you, how do you keep the audience engaged? And do you think social media like helps a lot with what you do to keep everybody engaged?
Yeah. Honestly, like I get asked this question a lot, like, cool, so that's what you do, but like how do you do it, right?
Hmm.
And honestly, like engagement, especially fan engagement, really starts at the core of understanding our fans and what they like, what they don't like. We don't worry, we get to hear that a lot. But what traditions they connect with the most and like what, experiences make them feel as though they are a part of something bigger than, the game that's being played in front of them. We use like a mix of a lot of in-venue elements such as like interactive promotions and games and music and student involvement and telling the story of Clemson, telling the story about our specific team if that's applicable. For example, last year with women's basketball, they are one of the like three first ever women's sports programs that started here at Clemson in 1975. And so last year was the 50th year anniversary of women's hoops, which is like so awesome to be a part of and was really, really special last year.
Mhm.
And I feel very blessed to have experienced that and kind of been a pretty big part of the back end of that. But we spent all of last year kind of telling the story of the past 50 years, and what that has looked like, and also kind of giving a little bit of inspiration to the program of like what we can look like, be having kind of that scope of history, I guess. But we're just trying to keep the energy up from start to finish, no matter how the game's going. Which, can be easier some games than others, but ultimately, like that is our job. Again, like some sports and some games and some times of year and all of those different things, every game looks very different. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of my job and one of my favorite parts about what we do is no day is ever the same. But for social media, obviously, like, of course, that plays a big role. That is the most powerful form of outreach and marketing that the world has at this current moment and probably will have for the foreseeable future. But especially like when we're building anticipation leading up to events and, you know, extending the fan connection beyond the game itself, like it's crucial. Our department works really hard to collaborate with our communications department, which ultimately are the folks that are running the team accounts on social media. We just want to make sure that our in-game experiences align with what's happening digitally and in the digital world. And it's all about creating a consistent and exciting like fan journey, like the term fan journey. And what does that fan's journey look like? Gets used a lot in our office. So utilizing social media for what that can look like as well, is a huge part of our day to day.
You might have touched on it a little bit, and I'll ask anyway. What is your favorite part about working in fan experience?
Um, my favorite part about it today is probably different than my favorite part about it was yesterday. But ultimately, I think like when it's all said and done, my favorite part is seeing a lot of our hard work on the back end come to life. We
Mhm.
saw that probably more, I mean, I've seen it with a lot of really, really special initiatives that we've done. Kind of going back to women's basketball last year, we did our first ever Clemson Life Night, which was so awesome. It was the first time that a team really ever did like an all-encompassing theme night game specifically to showcase the Clemson Life program. And it was so much fun. And all of the Clemson Life kids that came and alumni, our boy Tanner was there and Coach Poppy was stoked. It was just like, it was such a great game to be a part of, win or lose. But one of the biggest scales that we've seen this is what we got to experience at the end of August with our game against LSU. Like the drone show took months of planning. And every little element with that game was so calculated in a way, like at least from our perspective. And like, every game there's going to be something that's going to go wrong, but we are responsible for trying to make at least like how many people notice that very limited. Sometimes it's inevitable, but ultimately, like my favorite thing is just like really being on that back end, playing a role in it and watching it come to life. It's probably one of the most rewarding things, just seeing your hard work like pay off, I guess, is the simplest way to put it. And I feel like that's a lot of kind of what drives us day to day is what the end result will look like for whatever we're currently working on.
All right, well now I'm going to flip the script on you here. What would you do? You have a least favorite part or maybe a hardest part of fan
I mean,
experience?
everybody does. Everybody has a least favorite part of their job, and if they say that they don't, they're lying. But I think at least like right now, it's probably just like the unpredictability. Game days are controlled chaos. There's really no other way to put it. And we are constantly dealing with, we've dealt with two weather delays in the past three home games, and they were the fifth and sixth to happen in Memorial Stadium history. So of course, like a third of the historical weather delays have happened this season. But we really like the amount of change that we have to adapt to when those types of things happen. Not many people will ever know about like the rearranging of the script that we have to do. We have millions of dollars worth of sponsorship content that we are contractually required to get out during these games. And if we don't, we're in trouble. Granted, like there's so many other things like when, you know, we've had to kind of like when we have flyovers, I was absolutely astounded that we got our flyover in for Syracuse because we were still able to kick on time, which was crazy. And so like there was just so many different elements that are moving at once, that when you can't really prepare for those, it can get really overwhelming. We obviously deal with, technology issues and timing things that we have no control over. But the more you experience those, honestly, the easier it is to adapt to them when they happen, and the easier it is to kind of like stay calm and almost lock in a way. Um, it's also a role where the hours can be really long and really
Mhm.
inconsistent, especially during what we like to call our crossover season, which we are about to embark on in the next probably 2 to 3 weeks when basketballs and gymnastics start, because we are basically going to be working for 7 sports teams at once. The one from winter to spring is even worse. But, even on the tough days, like and where it seems like nothing's going right, like it's really rewarding because you know that you're contributing to something that'll be really worth it in the long run, even if you don't really see it right now. And that's something I always try and like reassure our interns and like my coworkers of is like it'll be okay. Like we're good because nothing is, everything at least that we seem to go through is fairly temporary. That is like negative or our least favorite part, which is good.
Uh, you kind of touched on it with Braylon when you were just talking about like y'all have to find ways to like keep the audience engaged. But like, how do you personally, or like your team, how do y'all come up? Because it's not like this the first year y'all been doing it. Like y'all been doing this kind of stuff for a minute, so it's hard to
Yeah.
like not repeat. How do y'all like find ways to incorporate stuff into the game?
Yeah, that's a great question, and something that like especially when our interns like first start in our internship program, that's one of the main questions that they have is like, hey, like I'm so happy to be here, but like give me some best practices of like how we realistically brainstorm and like keep things fresh.
Yeah.
Um, and to be completely honest, there's no formula to it. A lot of it just comes from like really open collaboration and also just like reflection on what has worked and what hasn't in the past. We pay very close attention to like a lot of the trends across college and professional sports, especially. And we talk with our student interns. Like I've never been a Clemson student. I went to the University of Toledo, very proudly, go Rockets. But like I went to a MAC school. Like I did not have the Clemson student experience the same way that our student interns do. So they provide like absolutely probably some of the most invaluable feedback that we get when it comes to getting in front of our students, like giving them what they want, honestly, and
Hmm.
just overall fan feedback. I also like I love brainstorming and like sitting down with like our teams specifically. Sometimes the best ideas like come from a random like what if question, like what if we did this or what if we tried this? Um, and I think one thing that we really keep in mind a lot is like inspiration can really come from anywhere, honestly. And like the key is to like be inspired by something, but more importantly, make it Clemson if you're going to try it. I think that's a big thing in the sports industry that's often like misunderstood is just because Texas did something really, really cool does not mean it would fit here. And just because we did something really cool at baseball does not mean it's going to fit at volleyball. So it can even be things as little as that, just like the change of a sport, the change of the fans, the demographic, so many different things affect like what we do and don't do at specific sports. And it changes year over year. We really do try and keep it fresh. And we're also not afraid of screwing up. So like if we try something once and we know it doesn't work, we know not to do it again. But those few things where we try it and it hits, like we know that's something that we can grow on. And so we just try and take those specific things and run with them as best we can.
So, touching on how you keep things new and fresh, how has new media like AI, social media, and VR helped you in your job? And has it made it any easier to bring people out of the stadium into the games that you're promoting?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of new media gives us like a lot of tools to connect with our fans on like a almost overly personal level sometimes. So like for example, like AI can help analyze like a lot of fan behaviors, which sounds like creepy and weird, but it's so relevant. And it helps us improve our like strategies on the back end. Like while social media helps us obviously, reach audiences instantly and like, we can get a little bit more creative with social media. Like for here at Clemson specifically, I will die on the hill that we have like one of the best creative teams that is in the collegiate space in the country, just because of the type of storytelling they can do with videos and the way that they can connect with fans through different edits and videos and graphics and all of these different types of things that really capture people's attention. And so like, we obviously support those types of things. Like VR and other like kind of more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like immersive type of technology. They're still developing, but they are going to, and they do open a lot of doors for a lot of like virtual experiences that can build a lot of excitement and really catch the attention of our fans. When it comes to, TV timeouts and breaks. I remember last year when men's basketball played Duke, it was absolutely hilarious. So shout out to my boss because he was the one that did this. But there was a kid that somehow got into our student section and he is a current Clemson student. This is what blows my mind. He took off his hoodie and he had a Duke basketball jersey on underneath it. I was like, you're crazy and you're rage baiting everybody. But we found him with a camera and we put like a crying baby AI filter over his face. And it was one of the funniest things ever. And so like stuff like that, we're really trying to tap into like how we can use it in a way that makes sense, but doesn't like completely distract from what's happening, in front of you. Ultimately, I mean, like nothing replaces a live atmosphere, and like these types of tools and technology, like they can and they do help us bring more people into experience our games firsthand. Granted, like we still do have people that are like, the weather doesn't look good. I'm gonna watch from my couch. You can do that, but ultimately, like if something really awesome happens at the game and you miss it, don't come crying to me.
So maybe you touched on it a little bit talking about AI and stuff, and maybe you can use it, now or in the future. But how do y'all measure the success of a marketing campaign or a fan experience initiative?
Yeah. Um, we use honestly, like it kind of depends on the sport, to be completely honest, and kind of the situation of like why we were doing that initiative in the first place. I think overarching though, like a mix of metrics and numbers, obviously, such as attendance numbers. That can tell you a lot about who's coming to your games and also any sort of trends on, the time of year that people are coming and like the opponents that they really enjoy coming to see, the time of day, the day of the week, all of those different types of things. The attendance trends are really interesting. Obviously, ticket sales for our ticketed sports. Student attendance obviously is huge, especially somewhere just like Clemson, where like the student support and the student body are crucial to, our attendance and the overall experience of our fan base and also our growing fan base. And like the engagement rates, are huge. I think had to have been the Syracuse football game. We tried a new promotion with Jersey Mike's where we threw a QR code up on the video board, and if you scanned it and like put in your info or whatever, at the very least you would win a free Jersey Mike's sub. Hey, that's pretty sick. And like Jersey Mike's had tried that at like a ton of other colleges and gotten like not that many scans, like at all for some reason. And then all of a sudden we do it at our game and we had like 600 or 700 scans.
He did it. He really did it.
And Jersey Mike's was like, oh my goodness, okay, this works, like those types of things. At least they show us that people are paying attention. Even with those little like sponsored things, people see free and they want it, which is so fair. But the most powerful form of marketing that I have experienced myself and continue to hone in on is referral marketing of people that will talk about their experience in a good way to their friends, their family, their coworkers, anybody that'll listen. and just like overall word of mouth feedback that we get from our fans and our staff and our student athletes is just as important as, all the rest of the metrics that we have. So we prioritize a lot of retention, and we really want our fans coming back to games. Are people coming back and bringing their friends? If an initiative like creates buzz and strengthens the connection that the Clemson community has to our programs, then that's honestly is like one of the most defining metrics of success in our book when we reflect over the year.
I love that. Well, that's all the questions we have for you today. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know that you're extremely busy right now with football season and everything going on. So just thank you for coming on today.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you guys for having me. This was awesome. You guys had great questions. I'm super excited to see the final product, of course.
Yes,
But yeah, no, this was great. So thank you guys for having me.
of
Thank you
course.
so much.
Appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Go Tigers. See you later.
Tigers. And we're back.
I think okay, great. So, do y'all think audiences have more power now in shaping sports narratives because of social media?
Um, I would say yes. I think that with social media, you're kind of able to get more of the athlete's story out there. And I think that with social media, you can shape the story in a way that's interesting, like just as an example, like clickbait. I
For
agree.
sure. I think too that there's been a big shift in like traditionally there were gatekeepers, the journalists and sports organizations, and now anybody can create content and bring their own perspective to the narrative.
And I think also that with social media, people can post what they want and talk about what they want and create narratives that maybe, you know, broadcasters on TV won't tell you about because they would get fined if they talked about it, stuff like that.
They kind of show the real stuff or talk about the real things because they won't get punished or we won't get punished. Okay. Why do y'all think fans sometimes say we won or we lost even though they aren't the ones playing?
I mean,
Uh,
I kind of think this goes back to like kind of what we discussed last week, like parasocial relationships, like with the team as a whole. Um, I know, Braylon, you said like you've grown up diehard Clemson football fan, so your family has always kind of
Yeah.
felt like a connection to the team in a way. I mean, I think sports as a whole, people have a strong connection to it and a strong emotional connection. So saying like we won or we lost, it's like how you're feeling because you feel like you're a part of it, even though you weren't on the field playing. You still kind of contributed to the game, being there, being present, and like tuning in to watch.
Do you think certain fans kind of, if they're doing really good, we're like, we won, like we did this, but like if we lose, we're like, oh, they lost. It's not like a we lost, it's a they lost.
Yeah, like sometimes.
oh.
I do think that happens sometimes, but I feel like with that, that's probably more like more bandwagon fans than like real true
Yeah.
fans. Because I know my parents, they both went to Clemson, and so they've been football fans for several years. So even when we lose, they're like, we win or we lose, like it's still our team. They're not going to
Yeah.
go and be like, oh, go this team instead. They're still going to be there for Clemson.
I think it's bigger than Clemson though, cause like even in high school, like my folks grew up in Athens, so like my high school like a it was a big community too, and so like it was the same thing like when North Dakota won, like we won, when we lost, it was like we lost. But I think it's like all goes back to just kind of not just sports, but as a community as a whole, you kind of like have your identity in certain things, and like whether you're practicing with the team or not, like if you live in Clemson or if you go to school in Clemson, like even as students, you feel like connected. and it's like part of your identity. So like you feel like regardless of we won, we lost type thing.
That kind of
My
answers
turn.
I
my
agree.
question. I was gonna ask you, Khalil, like when you hear people say like, "Oh, we lost" or "we did that," like, what do you think about like
I
students
don't
here?
I don't be tripping because I get it because when I was growing up, I was the same way about like Georgia because I just always been right there, and like my uncle had played for Georgia, and my grandma used to cater for them. So like when Georgia won, we won. Like it's a great day in the household. Georgia
Yeah.
lost, all the lights off early. Ain't nobody talking. So one of them type of things. So I get it. I do feel like it's a weird. Coach Woody talk about that a lot. Like we're not just playing for like us. Like the way we play impacts way more than just the people in the room. So like he helps us kind of understand that too.
So now that you were on a college football team, do you still feel like, oh, we won, we lost with Georgia since you're from
I was just
Athens?
about to ask that.
Nah, I had to like let that kind of go my junior year because like then you start getting recruited and then you can't. Like if it was just about like dream school, I probably would have been at Georgia, but like you get
Yeah,
recruited, you gotta start making it like more about that, like best for your future, this type of stuff.
yeah.
I was gonna ask the same question. Like, do you like obviously like I assume deep down you still like a little bit of a Georgia fan just because it's like
Yeah, like,
back where you're from, back where you're
Yeah,
home. Like I get that. So
yeah,
do your
yeah.
parents still root for Georgia?
Not really. I mean, we still know people on the team just because
Hmm.
again, like we grew up there, so like there's people from
mhm.
Yeah.
like my high school and like just areas that we kind of grew up with that ended up going there. So they still root for them, but my sister graduated from there, so she's the one who is a diehard Georgia fan. Yeah. Okay. Um, I think how does being a fan bring people together, and can it ever like divide them?
Yeah, I definitely think it can divide people easily. I think
Yeah.
based off like your team, like you could have two different perspectives of like what's like going on, like in everything, and it can just divide the whole fan base. But it
Yeah.
definitely brings you together. I feel like when it's good, when it's good, I feel like
Hmm.
everybody's together. But it's easily can
Yeah.
Yeah.
be divided when it's not good.
Yeah. When
Facts.
it's
I think
good,
I think oh,
sorry.
you got
When it's good, I would say like I know Clemson emphasizes like being more than just a team. Like Clemson as a whole is like a family and such a strong community. And I think that anyone who is a Clemson fan of any sorts, like I think it brings us together a lot. But like when things aren't going good, I think you have the people who like have spent their whole life being Clemson fans, and then people who are like first generation at the school, and I feel like that can kind of cause them to butt heads because they're like the people that are newer to the fan base. It's like quicker or it's easier for them to like kind of turn away from it whenever we're not doing as good versus the people who have been here for forever. They're like, it's still our team. Like it's still Clemson. We still love them, win or lose.
I think age, like you said, just like adding on to that. I think age plays a big role in it too, because like you have people in the same fan base who have never seen a losing season, and then you have
Mhm.
older people who have seen some pretty dark days and seen some pretty not so great teams. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
But then they've also seen the good too. Like
very true.
people have also seen the very good, also the worst.
I think that
Yeah.
can help bring people together.
Mm.
Like, I think it can help, yeah, if I made it through these times and made it through and got to see some winning, like you're gonna make it through, like that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
I
And
think
then
it's like the good times are like really good, like for everybody. But like I said, like the bad times, it's like even like early this season, we had like a lot of everybody was together preseason because we had a lot of hype, like
Hmm.
had a lot of talent on our team, a lot of good stuff around Clemson, which is always good. But then like you lose a few games, and like y'all said, like there's the people who have been through this and like seeing it and understand that it is football. Like you go lose a few games, but then you got the people who is like because it does suck, but they don't just not knowing how to handle like adversity. And I think a lot of it is age, but I think also a lot of it is just like again, media you can shape whatever narrative you want to. So just all that mixed together just makes the hard times like harder.
Definitely. Like not just thinking about Clemson in this aspect and like only Clemson fans. I will say like being a fan in general, I think can divide people as a whole, like sports fans in general, just because obviously people feel very strongly about their team. I mean, there's a whole weekend dedicated to rivalries and it can get pretty crazy. So I feel like that definitely divides people in the sports world.
Yeah.
But if
I
there's
think
like, sorry, if there's like
no, you're good.
two teams that like have one team that they really don't like, I think it's interesting to see how like those two teams, whether they may be rivals too, but they'll come together just because they don't like that other team. So I feel like that's
Yeah.
interesting. Did you want to add on, Kate? Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I don't have to. I was just I like no, you're good. You said it.
Okay. Okay. So our last question is, do you think that online fandom, such as like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, has made fans more connected to sports as a whole, or do you think it's made it more toxic?
I think it's made it both like it yes, fans are more connected now. And at the same time, I think they can be more toxic because it's so much easier to say what
hmm
you're thinking like that. Like you don't have to wait to really express how you're feeling. And so they're connected, but it's not always in a positive way.
Yeah. Like literally like there's everybody to see like if a kicker miss a game with a kick, regardless of the school it's at, it's like he's literally getting death threats and stuff. And like we hear about those type of stories year in, year out. So I think like that type of stuff, obviously you have to be way more connected to do like have that access. But like it's again in the good times it's real good, but in bad times it's toxic. It's bad stuff.
I definitely think it's like a good balance of both. Like
Yeah.
like you can it's like it's good you can say what you want to say, like to these players, like give your thoughts, but like Cole said, like giving death threats, like you can get toxic. Like that can get
Yeah.
really bad. Or like putting things that probably shouldn't be out there. So I definitely think it's like a fine line between the two.
I would agree. I would say like I think it doesn't even have to go as far as death threats. Like just videos of like I don't know, like the Saddam Hussein edit trend this year, where if you have a bad game, you will 100% be in a Saddam Hussein edit or an Al Qaeda edit or just some stupid shit like that. Like there's no point. Like it doesn't help anybody. Like it's not helping you as a fan base or helping your favorite players. If they happen to see that, like
Yeah.
come on
Yeah.
now.
I don't even know if y'all like see it, but like if y'all go to like who's the team out there? I don't even want to say it before our team, but like if you go to like a good team's quarterback page after a loss, they can post a picture of like them and their mom, and the comments will like be flooded with stuff from the game that don't even got anything to do about the picture. It's just like
Yeah.
listed like that, just be kind of funny, but it's toxic, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff after some of these Clemson games this year, all over
I
the
know,
Barstool pages with our quarterback.
I know,
Yeah,
and that's
it's
a be.
rough.
It'd be tough because you ain't even in times now to where you can escape it. Like it's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
we can just stop social media.
It's only gonna continue to grow.
Yeah.
It's not going
Yeah.
down.
But the
Khalil, do you
most you
feel
can
like
do. Sorry.
I was gonna ask Khalil, like, is it like hard to like adjust to like seeing what people are like saying online to you and your team or you and your fans or maybe like a team you like?
Uh, it was at first, but I think it's like an area I've grown with because
Hmm.
Sweetie, he like we literally call him Sweetieisms because like every day we have a team meeting, he gives us like little nuggets for life, not even just for football, but for life. But like the ones that like I really liked was he was just like you can't live outside in, like you can't live to for I can't live for comments or for praise or whatever. I
Hmm.
gotta if my foundation is faith, like I have to live like what's inside of me, I have to live on the outside. Like every other thing don't really matter. I just gotta live from what's inside me. So it's hard because you can't again
Yeah.
you can't escape the stuff and no one wants to see like negative comments about them, but it make it easier
Yeah.
when like especially when you have like a someone who's at the head of your organization, like leading the way he leads and like give you little messages like that. So I think every athlete deal with it, but uh, deal with it as best as we can.
Hmm.
Like you said, though, I mean, like you said, when it's good, it's good. Like
Yeah.
you're just talking about quarterbacks, like a comment section. Like I just went and looked at Lenore Seller's comment section, for example.
Yeah.
That dude's comment section, it's all just like La Heisman, La Goggles. Like
Yeah.
what? Like he had a thing with Roback. It was like La Roback, La
Yeah.
Goat. Like oh, you're my sunshine. Like
Like literally, literally. And then like, yeah. You spot on with that one. You spot on.
uh, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in to episode 2, the All In Podcast. Thank you, Miss Sammy Roush, for joining us. And, like, subscribe, come back again for episode 3.
Yay, we're done.
So
Yay.
Podcast 2 wrap up.